Let's start with Shawn. What gives, cue ball? I'm looking at you. I'm thinking 14 in the side pocket.
You know, I can't believe you're talking about my hair with all the bloody starvation and the suffering in the world right now.
Come on, swing, baby. You're platinum.
You asked it around you, the country around my face. It's gone.
What are you doing? Come on.
That is not paid for by them. That is paid for by the people of Detroit.
You might be qualified, Emil.
I'm not qualified for this job.
Let me tell you something. You want to go right now? Okay? You want to go right now, Albert?
Hey, kids, with a heavy heart, it is your old pal ML Elric checking in. There are many reasons for my sorrow today. First, it could be the weekend full of scrubbing toilets and tubs in East Lansing that I'm still recovering from. There are nerves in my fingertips that may never, ever regain feeling. Then there's sorrow over the passing of Sinead O'Connor, which we're going to talk about in room 7609. And then just as I thought that I would draw on my last reserves of strength to somehow fight through to carry on, Paul Rubens is dead. So
that one was crushing.
If we could have a moment of silence, if you could all just be quiet and put your hands where we can see them for a moment, let's remember Pee-wee.
Good.
And if you're putting your hands where you shouldn't and you're thinking Pee-wee, that's probably...
I love that story.
That's not good at all. So that's 3. Sinead, Pee-wee. Or that's 2. Who's the third? Who's next? Tony Bennett? Does Tony Bennett count?
Bennett, yeah, I suppose.
Really?
I mean, he's been dead forever, but officially died.
Yeah.
This past weekend.
I don't know. I'm thinking there's somebody out there who should be very nervous in the entertainment industry. Does Keith Richards finally get it? Is this
that guy? He's never dying. What are you talking about?
Well, he's never going to be embalmed, but he's going to die at some point.
No, he's not. He's going to live forever. Can't kill that guy.
Oh shit. Okay. Well,
Methuselah. Maybe
it's not too late to start taking heroin. But I don't recommend that. You shouldn't do that. Don't do that. I take it back. That's not the key to longevity in a
I
happy
gotta say,
life.
you're the only person I know that was a Sinead O'Connor fan.
Really?
Only person.
Wow.
I can only name one song, and she didn't even write it.
So you don't know
Nope.
very many people, is what you're saying.
No, I know a lot of
she
people.
had fans.
No, I know she had fans. Did you like her?
I liked her voice, but maybe not the music.
Name one song other than Nothing Compares.
Mandinka.
Good job. Congratulations.
Mandinka. That's
it flowed right off your tongue.
A great song.
So this is like last week when Shawn does his new wave research. He says, "Do you like the primitive?" Actually, I went back and looked. It's the Primitives, and I do remember. I think we played them in room 609 very early on with "Sick of It." That's not their biggest hit, but it's easily their best song. But
look, I know she has fans. I know she was beloved. I think the whole Pope thing, she got kind of a raw deal. I don't think
she was right.
I think people
talk about being ahead of the curve on that.
Sure. And I think people react. I mean, they booed her off the stage a few days later in a Bob Dylan.
Did you see the great story? Did you? You probably don't remember this, but there was a great story where Chris Christopherson was sent out at some concert where she was getting booed. This is right around that same time.
I think that was the Dylan concert.
Yeah, and he was sent out to get her off the stage. He's like, I'm not going to do that. He went out and put his arm around her and helped her get going.
That's when he said, "Don't let the bastards get you down."
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm fascinated that you love her music. I can't wait to hear more.
There were that many papists at a Bob Dylan concert. I thought that was kind of a protest crowd to begin with.
Kind of like you can't wait to hear Room 7609. Is that the same vibe?
Just trying to move it along.
Let's go right to it. Yeah. No. No. She was great. She was incredibly talented, ahead of her time. When the Lion and the Cobra came out. When she had Lay Your Hands on Me, she had MC Light rapping on it. So not only was she a pioneer, but she brought another pioneer into it. It was a mashup long before Run DMC hooked up with Aerosmith. She was ahead of her time in so many ways, and the music was so good that it's a shame that a lot of the political stuff got in the way, but she was willing to pay the price to say what she had to say, and that's kind of what this show is all about. Right, Shawn?
Whatever you say.
Shawn is still doing his moment of silence. We
No,
probably
no,
should've-
whatever you say. I was just waiting for you to
should've-
finish. I wasn't sure when it was going to
timer on
come.
that.
Yeah, no, that was nice. Nice opening there, soliloquy.
So we have a little more news about someone who's not with us, but they're still alive.
Do you have feeling in your fingers yet?
What?
No, but my hands still work. I may exercise them around somebody's
Oh, from
throat.
cleaning in East Lansing?
Yeah,
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 from-
yeah.
It's nice someone cleaned up there.
Scrubbing
is.
toilets and showers. You know, have you ever
You look a little
seen?
tired today, by the way.
Have you ever seen a bathroom or a shower where you say, "If I got into that, I would come out dirtier"?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I went
Really?
to college, yeah. Uh-huh.
Oh,
we lived
God.
in a dump.
I don't
Isn't
know.
that part of the experience?
No, I mean you're not supposed to go to school to get some sort of disease. I can't rule out that COVID didn't start in one of the toilets in this rental house we have. I was shocked and appalled to discover. Now, you want to pick up the rest of that Smith song, Shawn?
No. I was just thinking about you wanting to put your hands on my neck, and
I want to lay my hands on you,
it's
just like Sinead.
Just disappointing because
Just like
you're
Sinead.
my hero.
Speaking of taking care of
Very
things,
handsome. You look a little tired today, but other than that, still fetching.
regarding taking care of things around the house, and I was talking about this with Drew. So my washing machine gave me one of those errors. What do you do when a washing machine gives you an error?
Unplug it and plug it back in.
Yeah, okay. What happens when that doesn't work?
YouTube.
Go get a new one.
You
YouTube.
go to YouTube.
And then you go get a new one? Okay.
I mean, how long have you had it?
Oh, forever, but I love it. It's a monster. I took the whole thing apart because I
Yeah.
was so angry at it.
Because you're special, and appliances should last for you double what everybody else.
No, because I figure if I take it apart and I can't fix it, I have to get a new one anyway. So why not attempt to
see. So
clean
you
it
can
up?
sleep.
A lot of
So
times you can take something apart and clean it up, and it works just fine. And I did that, and I found what the problem was. It was like a washcloth got behind the basin and was covering the filter pump. Blah 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 blah. I put it back together. Things seemed to be working, and then I realized, hey, what do these two screws go to? I just had two screws left over. And I was like, okay, well, I guess it works. This is fixed for me.
And those screws will sit on a sill somewhere for how long?
Well,
years.
After I told the story before I got home, and I had texted Brandon because I was like, oh, it hit me. I knew where they went. It was just a panel in the back that was holding on the top. So I felt like a man. I successfully
You're lucky.
fixed something.
Usually when that happens, it's something that you need to stop vibrations. So when you don't put it in there, then they work for a while, then
Exactly.
they get off kilter, and then the whole thing freezes. I did that with the dryer. YouTube had the exact dryer. This is an ancient dryer from my grandma. They had the exact thing. I took it apart, and I'm like, why can't I get this apart? Well, it turns out my dryer had some parts that had been welded together that in the thing on YouTube, there's just a bolt. So I'm trying to why can't I finally called my buddy Bobby, who's Mr. Fix Everything Up. He's a stagehand at Fox 2, lives nearby. He came by and said, yeah, that's welded. That's not right. So don't do that. And then we just needed a new belt for the dryer. So and
you
then
still have the dryer.
no, because the flood came and it destroyed the
Oh,
dryer.
yeah.
So that was
But you
fixed
do
it.
have a car of similar vintage, so that's good.
I think the dryer was older than the Riviera, but the Riviera is still running.
I like fixing things. I just can't do it. I can never do it.
I fixed cabinet doors. I fixed all kinds of shit this weekend.
Well, I can do
because
that, but it's never good.
I should have known when I saw the poster John Belushi wearing the sweatshirt that says college on the wall in the living room that I was in for a problem. That should have been the first clue
Nice tenants, geez.
that this was going to be a lot. They're great kids. They're just not what I would
gross.
call hygienic. But okay, last bit of bad news. We are hoping to have a divine presence with us, Camera Jesus, but he's not here. The good news is it's not because of anybody named Pilot. It's just he's out of town, and so he will not be joining us today, but he will be here another time. Who is with us here, though, is his collaborators on I'm going to call it an art installation on the east side, although it's a very commercial thing, but it's a work of beauty. If you've been by the Caju Cafe, which, in full disclosure, we have to say is a sponsor of the show, you will see this fantastic sign at the corner of, John, is it Minneapolis and Caju, or is
Waveney.
it Waveney and
Waveney and
Caju?
Caju.
Okay. And it's super cool, and it's done by a local artist whose work you've seen all over town, you just didn't know it, who's also a high school classmate of mine. So hopefully he's not going to tell any of those stories.
Yeah, we try not to.
Yeah, no, I don't. But the thing is, Alex, I don't have anything on you, and I don't know that you have anything on me other than it seemed like that kid spent a lot of time upside down in toilets with his head.
Yeah, we'll keep it
getting
quiet
swirled.
for now.
So yeah, that's between us. So Alex Porbe is here to talk about how this artwork came together and some of the other projects he's working on. If you've been to any of the coolest spots in Detroit, some of the places that come to mind, the Apparatus Room, the old fire headquarters downtown, now a very high-end boutique hotel and bar. You'll see some of Alex's work in there, so we're going to talk a little bit about how that came together. And all of these conversations are brought to you by our generous sponsors. Luke Nowacki, who is our presenting sponsor, and Pinnacle Wealth Strategies. We're going to tell you how Luke can help you get ready for the future, how you can plan for your retirement and make sure your money's working for you because you work for it. Let it do some work for you. That's the way to go. The Caju Cafe, of course, and I believe the bricklayers are still looking for apprentices. So we're going to tell you how you can get a jump start on a great career, maybe make a career change and make a lot of dough in the process. So they will pay you to go to school, which is fantastic because after being in East Lansing, where we pay them for the privilege of going to school, I can tell you it's probably a lot more fun to be paid to go to school than to be writing those checks for learning. So that's all coming up in just a few minutes. And before we get to the Caju, I got to tell you about Lollapalooza. This is an event that Derek Kever and I hosted last year at the Magic Bag. You may remember Derek coming on the show and taking a lot of ribbing for being a weatherman. That's just part of the job. He's at peace with it. Lollapalooza is back in 2023 at the Magic Bag this weekend. It's going to be hosted by Derek Kever again. The 31485, that's some sort of legal joke band name, is going to be the headliners, along with the Dirty News, the Common Scolds. Strongman Don Cummings will be there performing feats of strength. And I don't know if you're ready for this one, Alex, but our former high school classmate Cam Ghetto will be performing an acoustic set.
Oh, nice.
Did you know Cam could play?
Of course. I haven't talked to him in a while.
Yeah, he's a lawyer and a guitar player. So this is going to be helping the Autism Alliance of Michigan. The disease that Derek and I were there to help out with last year was cured, I'm pleased to say. So now we're going to...
Thanks to you.
Well, I don't want to say thanks to me, but we're going to find out because now Derek's doing it. But if there's still autism at this time last year, then I cured the disease because Derek is the common denominator. So get to the Magic Bag this weekend. It's going to be a lot of good music, a lot of fun. And who knows, Mike Morris might show up again. You can ask him how his mom's doing or what she's doing because normally I think they spend Friday nights together making popcorn and macrame. I think that's his thing, right?
Sounds about right.
Yeah, that's what I thought I saw in the lawsuit. So that's what we got. Okay.
Cheap shot.
What? It's a matter of public record. So John, you've done a lot with the Caju, the Garage Bar, my favorite spot to drink on the east side. You got the Music Pavilion outside, which is fantastic. The Beer Garden, I know that's just kind of the beginning of what's going on. Some of us were upset that you knocked down the beautiful Belgian waitress to make the entrance to the Beer Garden, and we thought, well, there goes the last piece of real art, a little pinup girl on the side of the Caju Cafe. But now you're making amends with your fancy new entrance. And my favorite thing is, this may seem kind of low tech, but I love that you left the big letters bar over the door. You don't see that anywhere. It's
Right.
kind of like, where am I going? Oh, you're going to the
We
bar.
just want to make sure people know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not like they're going there for the pinball. Although you do have pinball, right?
No, we don't.
What? Did you get rid of the pinball?
It's too dusty with the feather bowling to have pinball machines.
And of course, feather bowling is one of the leading causes of lung cancer, I understand. Is that
I don't.
Is that proven?
No, nothing about that.
No, I know that's not true because the former president of the Feather Bowling League, Eric, still talks a lot. And if he had no
When's he
lungs,
coming on?
he couldn't do that. No. Yeah, he and Bo are going to do a 4-hour set next week on the show. Another grand champion. But you collaborated with Alex on this project, and so I know Alex because we went to high school together. How the hell did you come up with this?
Well, it's pretty
co-conspirator?
interesting. I used to perform with his father with the Detroit Symphony. His dad, legendary Detroit musician, What year would he have joined the DSO?
62.
So I played with his dad in the late 90s and maybe early 2000s. He retired in what, 01 maybe?
Yeah.
Around then. And some other gigs outside of the DSO as well. And then one night I was sitting at a bar talking to this guy next to me, and it ended up being that it was Alex Porbe. And he couldn't believe that I played with his father and had shared the stage with him. And we, this is probably about maybe 10 to 12 years ago, and we developed a friendship since then. And we've had the Cadgy now for about 5 years, and Alex and I have been sort of going back and forth for that time to figure out a project to work on together. And the sign was the one that was the first one we've done, and he just killed it. He hit a home run for it. So it goes on at 4 o'clock every day and turns off at 2 a.m. and it's a real work of art.
So, Alex, tell us about this. What was it that you were thinking when you put this together? Describe it for people, first of all.
Well, it's we use the existing logo, and it wraps around the corner of the building. And I wanted to incorporate some sort of Art Nouveau, Belgian style, very European, bohemian feel to it, with some of the bracketry and curvature of the metalwork. And I wanted to very much keep it that vibe without making it too fancy, per se. So it still has this fun sort of bohemian vibe to it with the graphics and so forth. So I did a little research into Victor Horta, who was a fantastic architect from the 1920s, Belgian architect. He did the airport and the train station there. It was amazing architecture, a lot of really cool metalwork. So we sort of gathered some inspiration from some of those visuals and incorporated it into the sign to sort of give it that feel.
Well, Art Nouveau is really big in, so people think of Art Deco, there's also Art Nouveau. And I spent some time in Nancy, France, which is one of the real hotbeds of Art Nouveau. And it's so interesting that it's this natural, it's sort of based in nature form, but it uses I guess metal is part of nature, but I mean, you don't think it's sort of industrial but natural, which is, I don't know how you make those two coexist, but it really sort of reminds me of when I look at it like the Daily Planet type of thing, where it has the dynamic lettering, but it has like an energy about it. It's pretty, and maybe that's just because of the curvature, but it's pretty wild.
And I'm looking at your the Instagram page, Insight Design LLC, and you can see the installment. That thing's huge. Like, how big is that thing? Because obviously on a building, it's going to look a little smaller. How big is it in person?
I think it's about 13 feet across.
I mean, it's massive.
How much does it weigh?
Surprisingly, not as much as you'd think. It's all aluminum, so it's probably maybe about 500 or 600 pounds.
Yeah, and John had to hold it up there while they bolted it in. He's being
Did you find any loose screws after you put it up there?
Yeah, there's two of them.
Well, the cool thing I gotta say is that it kind of looks like it's always been there. It really sort of fit into the existing structure and just the whole vibe of that corner. And it has a timeless sort of feel to it.
Well, there's gold feathers. What other elements are in there other than, of course, the name?
Well, the neon was a nice addition to it. So originally we were going to do sort of marquee style light bulbs, exposed light bulbs you see in some old timey signs, and John's partner Paul suggested neon to do in the cafe. So we did a channel letter with red neon in it, and it really pops. It really looks beautiful and timeless. It looks like it's from the 30s or 40s, really.
You said 60 years, right, for the neon? It will last.
I think so.
60.
Yeah.
And if it now, which one of us is going to be here to check on that warranty? I mean, that'd be 115. If you're going to go to Alex and say, "Hey, dude, you gave us 59 good years, but we're going to need you to replace the neon," you're going to have 114-year-old Alex Porbe up there,
You bet.
blowing that neon in. Because that's how it's done, right? All by mouth.
You know what? I wasn't there to see that happen.
Okay. Just as well. So how did you get into this? I mean, your dad was a musician. What did he play in the DSO?
He played viola.
Viola. Yeah. Okay. And John, of course, plays the triangle. Unless he's touring with Bob Dylan, then he boos. like all good Catholics, Sinead O'Connor. No, trombone for Bob Seger. But and I seem to remember you playing an instrument in high school. Am I mistaken?
I played guitar.
You played guitar, okay. And how did you get into being more of I'm going to say a hands-on artist, somebody who creates things with their hands?
Well, I was always building stuff as a kid: skateboard ramps, speaker cabinets, drum risers, anything, forts. You know what kids do. Anyway, in the 70s especially. So, but later I went to the College for Creative Studies and studied industrial design, and that's where I really got my hands into like working with metal and doing some welding and so forth. And I really had I was inclined to go in that direction and, round out my design career with fabricating. And I seem to work well with architects and developers in the vein of like being able to create something from their vision they can go into a job site. So I just pursued that angle and just grew it slowly from there.
And looking at a lot of your stuff too, it's restaurants, kind of design. That stuff tends to be invisible to most people.
Sometimes,
Does
yeah.
that drive you nuts? It's like, wait, I worked really hard on this. There's one, I was reading some of the comments. I don't know if you ever read the comments on your Instagram page, and one guy just goes, "It's stupid," like just a throwaway comment. But I'm like, it's a railing, and I think it's kind of cool, but I think people just don't see that stuff as they're walking around.
I'm okay with that because sometimes it's the overall ambiance. You walk into a place and, mostly people are there to look good and.
But this is a really obscure one, like the Rattlesnake Club, the handle on the door.
Yeah,
That's a
yeah.
cool handle, but how many people realize how unique that is? That would
Yeah.
drive me nuts as an artist. Like, no, you pause and look at this handle you're grabbing onto.
Yeah, but it's
I think there's enough people that do realize it, and I'm okay with that.
and it's not just it's a subconscious thing, right? You walk in and you feel good, and you're not entirely sure why you do, but you've created something that contributes to that feeling. And
Yeah.
to me, signs can do that. I mean, art can do that in general, but in the commercial space you're talking about, a restaurant, bar, whatever, all those things add up to reasons you want to go there.
But like,
and you can't articulate them, but it's because of your work.
The brass railing for Prime and Proper.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
gorgeous. It's beautiful. But how many people would notice that? I mean,
Well,
that's
that was an interesting one because that was a full-on like a reproduction of a classic piece that was there. So we recreated that completely from scratch to look like the original railing.
But I want people to notice these things
Yeah.
as they're walking around as opposed to just staring at their phone. I think it's really cool.
Yeah, me too.
Well, how do
I'll
you?
bet they do.
No, they don't.
might-
Shawn, they don't.
They're just not fucking posting about
The
it.
only
But-
time they'll see it is if they're looking at the Instagram because they're on
How
their
do you
phone.
know that they don't
I see
see it
people.
and consider
Because
it
I
for
see
a
people
second?
walk around just staring at their phone.
No, they're not always doing that.
Yeah, they are.
You
If they don't grab my handrail and they're looking at their phone, they're probably going to fall down the stairs.
Exactly, yeah.
That's right. We don't have to worry
appreciate
about
it.
those people. They're the ones with the busted teeth. How do you get
think it's
these
cool.
jobs, and what are some of the biggest challenges that you've had? I mean, if somebody says, "Hey, I want this place to have a certain, I don't know what, make it happen."
Right.
That's a blank slate can be great until it's like, oh shit, what do I do?
Yeah, well, that's exciting when I get those opportunities, So generally, I'll take a look at the building. If it's an older building, I'll try to, reference the architecture of the original structure and see if there's some design points in there that we could kind of build from, like a theme. And other times a customer may want something that's very creative in the art piece that's just, take it to the stars and see what happens and dial it back in if it gets too wild or whatever it is, and try to keep it within code,
What's the biggest piece you've ever done?
Oh, man, probably the piece over the bar at the apparatus room.
Okay.
It's about 30 feet long, and it's got 283 lights, 300 pieces of blown glass. It's pretty wild.
Wow.
So describe that for us, for folks who haven't been in there.
Yeah, it's like it's a feature piece that mimics the shape of the bar. So it's like a large horseshoe that hangs above the bar, and it has a lot of many of these rod sort of tube drops with blown glass on the end of each one, and an array of light bulbs. So it's pretty wild. It definitely is a room.
So the apparatus room is built in what used to be Detroit Fire Department headquarters down at, I think, Washington and
Larned.
Larned. Yes, thank you. I mean, it's fire trucks, right? I mean, it's all white tile in there, and then it's big fire truck bays. And now it's a very distinctive, it's the kind of place where if you're bringing somebody in from out of town, like, what's new in Detroit? You know, let's go there. I mean, it's not brand new, but it's the kind of thing that I think people expect to see in Manhattan or London or Paris or somewhere, not necessarily in Detroit. When somebody says, do this for me, what idea did they give you, or what was the starting point for you to create that?
Well, that piece originated from the design firm Simeon Deary out of Chicago, and their client asked them to come up with a theme and the whole ideas and everything. They wanted to do something that, crazy enough, was mimicking streetlights in Detroit and how some of them didn't work, which I thought
Most
was
of them.
really odd. I'm like, you really want to create an art piece, you know, broadcasting that? Okay. So, but we did all these lights hanging in a huge array, as I said, and you know, I don't know if it captures that vibe per se, but that was sort of an inspiration that they had mentioned anyway. So
they didn't say, I want this to feel like fire trucks. They had some other idea in mind. Then you go from there.
We did do a cool smoke puff light fixture in there that's completely wrapped in white fabric, and it literally looks like a big puff of smoke. It's like 8 feet tall, and it's all illuminated from the inside. And that's right in the front window. So you see that going down Larned. It's right in the front window.
And that's supposed to draw on the heritage of the building.
Yeah, you know, it's fire department headquarters.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
It was sort of their inspiration for that piece. Yeah.
Well, when you were talking about, so I think most people would say we're going to put up a sign. We want to say the name of the bar, and you know, there's feathers. Of course, we have feather bowling, right? Sure. It's one of the distinctive things about the Caju Cafe. But here you are researching Belgian architects and stuff like that. Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people figure, okay, you got a piece of metal, you're bending it around, you get it into a shape you like, and then you're done. I mean, how much goes into this process of really thinking about something before you actually start to create it physically? Yeah,
well, there was a period of time there, which made us a little late to get the project done because we were thinking about it so much in the front end. But that was important to go through that exercise. And I did a series of mock-ups and some experimental bending of some, you know, sample parts and so forth. And yeah, it took a minute to really wrap my head around it because I didn't want to screw this one up at all. And it needed to have a certain vibe and the timeless sort of quality to it that John had mentioned.
But does your work involve a lot of research? I mean, is there a lot of basically studying before you create a piece of art, or you just, you know, start jumping in and...
It depends. Sometimes this one, definitely a lot of research on this one because there was a lot of code requirements and things that we needed to research just to pull off the project from a nuts and bolts standpoint, you know. But the fun part comes later when we're like creating the brackets. So I was able to just get my hands dirty and get in there and start bending metal and creating forms that would go in and embellish the bracketry that holds the sign up. They're small details, but that's where all the icing is on the cake for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think of artists and people who might work with clay or with paint or drawing. You know, you kind of don't like what you got. You just pound it down and start over again. When you start bending metal, you know, if you think of, you know, was the Venus de Milo, was it great? And the guy's like, I don't like the arms, I'll start over. And somebody said, no, I'm not buying any more marble. She's good like that. You know, I mean, do you get into something where, yeah, I've always been told that once you bend metal, it never is quite the same again, where you say, this isn't what I like, I better start over. I mean, because it feels like your work is very physical and involves a lot of material that is not easy to manipulate.
Yeah. Sometimes you throw it in the scrap bin and start over, you know?
That's got to be hard. I mean, you know, it's like, okay, this doesn't work, you know?
Yeah, sometimes that happens, you know, but I've been doing it quite a while, so these days I'm a little more experienced. I can nail a concept from the beginning a little quicker than I used to be able to, you know, just having done it so many times. But yeah, sometimes you have to do some experimentation and try some samples and see what works. And adjust from there if you don't like the results,
Do you only do like industrial? Well, I mean, it's all industrial, I guess, but only commercial stuff, or do you do little things and do shows and whatnot?
I haven't done any shows in a while.
So you don't go to the Ann Arbor Art Fair
No.
and set up camp?
No. I did some of that. For a
Sweat
while.
your ass off.
I like your bowl of keys. I thought that was kind of cool. I don't know.
Yeah.
I could see someone. It's a bunch of old keys made into a bowl. That was cool. I couldn't do that.
Yeah, I sold 4 or 5 of those.
See?
But I was doing stuff. Randolph Street Market in Chicago. I did a few art fairs here and there. But that's a tough racket, man.
Yeah, the big monies and I would think bigger projects.
I always gravitated towards working on projects with developers and architects, stuff like that.
Have you ever done like a personal sculpture for someone's home?
I have. Yeah. I don't know if that's on the Instagram page. I don't think it is, but we've done a few. Yeah, I say we. It's me and my assistants, but I've done one in Birmingham. It was about a 12 or 15 foot tall aluminum sculpture in a yard. Yeah.
That wasn't the big obscene sculpture in Grosse Pointe that the Topless Prophet had, was it?
I was thinking of that one too.
It wasn't yours, was it?
No.
Okay.
It wasn't.
That one.
Yeah. Now,
Although I do like your Jesus Saves.
Wasn't that like a giant middle finger?
I can't remember. I think it was supposed to be pointing at either his ex-wife or his neighbors. The guy who owns the landing strip. I can't remember his name.
Alan Markowitz.
Alan Markowitz. Yeah. Well, that's right, because
Quite a
that's
character.
That was the name on the receipt when John bought the sculpture. So when you're in the garage bar, asked to see the sculpture garden out back.
He comes. I do a show once or twice a year at the Andiamo Celebrity Showroom, and he always has a table in front for this Sinatra tribute that we do, and he always comes in about 10 or 15 minutes late with an entourage of women, and they take the front table.
But they're all just there on their own time, right? I mean, they just like to hang out with them.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
Cool shit.
I got him. Alex is working on a
super
tap
cool.
handle for us now too.
Oh, really?
For our Feather Bowlers Ale.
Yeah.
And
those will be fun.
that's a work in progress right now.
Yeah.
So, Alex, how did you get into this, and what advice do you have for somebody who says, you know what, that sounds like a really cool gig? How do I even get started? Like, my daughter wants to be a tattoo artist. I think she'll apprentice for a tattoo artist, and that's the way it'll work. Maybe. We'll see. But, the path you're taking, I don't remember there being a lot of... I know Mr. Gray didn't mention this to me during our career counseling session.
Yeah, I mean, it was like necessity is the mother of invention, right? I had some opportunities to do some projects and some work, and I had to start from scratch. I didn't have any mentors really. I did it at CCS, instructors and so forth. But as far as getting into the metal fabrication business, no, I kind of learned that all on my own and talking to the old timers at the Smith Welding Supply down there in Detroit when they were there and on Selden, and picking up advice here and there where I could, and then learning. Just, again, make something, doesn't work out, throw it in the scrap bin, learn from it, go to the next thing.
So, you've got a shop now. You got people who work for you. I mean, there must have been some points where, like, shit, man, how do I pay the rent? I'm bending this metal. Nobody's buying it. Rutherford doesn't even have a bar. What the hell am I going to do? I mean, that's how do you?
It's part of the racket, and sometimes you're still worried about paying the rent. But things always pan out, and it's just it's been word of mouth, and I've got a great set of clients and people that call me back on projects, and I've got an opportunity right now. We're going to go out to Seattle and design and engineer a massive 30-foot-long spiral stair that goes down to the beach behind someone's house.
Damn.
And I'm going to be essentially engineering it. I can't really fabricate it here and ship it there. It's not quite feasible. But we're going to hire a fabricator in Seattle to actually do the work, and I'll oversee it. So
is that for Jeff Bezos or?
It's for a B. Gates. That's all he can say.
Yeah.
B. period Gates.
Well, to that point, how long would it take to make a very bright, flashing, annoying X that I could put on top of a giant building?
Oh.
Because Elon put that giant X up. It flashed. The neighbors got pissed off. He just took it down.
That was it, eh?
And I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, well, you didn't have that made over the weekend. I mean, you've been planning to make that thing. Like, how long would it take to make that giant flashing X?
I don't know.
I mean, is that like a month or is that like 3 months or?
Someone probably could have done it in a month, but they've probably been thinking about it a lot longer than that.
With his money, he could probably get it done, what, a week? You probably find the right people to get it done. immediately.
Damn, too bad he didn't follow the codes as closely as the folks at the Caju Cafe. It'd still be up there if they had followed the law. But that's Elon. That's Elon for you. He does what he wants to do.
Did you like the design of that X?
You know what? I've avoided seeing it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So feel free to show
So
me
it
a
looks like
picture.
an X, but it's got two lines. I mean, it's the toy. Well, here, it's probably on my phone, but then the picture flashes, or the sign flashes unusually bright.
It's not like you'll see the letter and say, I'll never think of that end of the alphabet the same way again. I mean, it's a big blue X, right? I mean, it's
white, a white X, black background.
Oh, it's white X.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Right then, I guess that's something about Elon there. So, Alex, where's a new project near us where people can come and see your work?
Well, we're doing some railings and some other architectural metalwork at Hamlin Pub in St. Clair, Michigan. That'll be coming up in about 6 to 8 weeks, I believe. Of course, you can see the apparatus room. You can see the Tesla tower we fabricated for Jack White on top.
Oh, yeah,
of
Third Man Records there. Yep.
So that's a popular spot. That's got some neon in it, too. That turned out pretty sweet. That was a fun one.
Who did you work with there? Did you consult with Ben Blackwell or Jack White, or were there other people who said, Jack wants a tower?
Well, you know what it is? It's a representative of the logo, the Third Man logo. So I engineered it from that, basically. And he had done something down at his Nashville store that was more of a two-dimensional sign. But I said, let's take this thing 3D all the way and actually build a globe, you know, and have channel lightning bolts with neon in it and go with the full 9 yards with it. And they agreed. And his manager there at the store, Ro Peter Hans, is an old friend of mine. His father is an architect and designer as well, a client of mine.
Okay.
So we were kind of already in the groove with those guys in the fold. So, and Jack was very gracious about, you know, accepting all the crazy ideas, and he loved it. In the end, it turned out great. And
the Tesla tower is a real tower. I mean, it's the one he used, right? Nikolai Tesla?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's an amazing story, too. But,
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's representative of that, and we fabricated it all out of aluminum, and it's still standing.
So Jack White himself was involved in this process. I mean, how often do you deal with big shots who say, I want you to do, and they give you some amorphous idea, and then you've got to realize and like, no, that's not it. Do it again. No, you're not. I mean, how much time do you spend with somebody saying, nope, that's not it? Where it's like, dude, this is exactly what you told me. You keep changing what you want. I'm getting sick of it.
Sometimes that happens, but you know, I think I'm trusted at this point in my career that people allow me to do my thing. You know, sometimes it's all about the communication too. You know, making sure that everyone sees the drawings in advance, or some samples, or some mock-ups, so they know what they're going to be getting. Because you know, it's a leap of faith. You're going to open your wallet and pay a bunch of money for something that's a crazy big idea. You better know what you're going to get in the end.
Yeah. Right. Well, I know John's very happy with the sign, but have you ever had something where you pull the tarp off it and they're like, what in holy hell did I just pay for? Okay.
No.
Okay. So if I went to Wayne County Circuit Court, I won't see so-and-so v. Porbe, and it's just like, no, okay.
I'm still waiting for something to fall and hurt somebody.
Oh, God.
That doesn't happen.
Oh, shit. Okay, well, for what it's worth, all the bolts on the Caju sign are new. So if you go in the front entrance, you're okay. If you don't feel safe going in the front entrance, you can come through the parking lot into the beer garden, which will take you to the garage bar. And John, you said there's something going on at the garage bar later this year?
Yeah, every weekend.
Selling
But
beer,
we have our Labor Day festival, Muscle Beach Music Festival, Thursday through, I think August 31st through Monday, is it the 4th? September 3rd or 4th?
Of August? Of September.
Labor Day weekend.
Yeah.
Labor Day weekend. And, you know, they've been doing that for, you know, a couple decades there, and we've continued that tradition and feature a lot of original Detroit music, songwriters, bands, and this year some of the highlights include we're bringing the Brothers Groove will be returning to the stage. They haven't really performed much over the last, probably over the last 10 years. It's not too much, but they used to be a staple around Detroit. With my group, the Moore City Horns, we used to perform with them, and oftentimes back up a well-known blues artist named Johnny Bassett, who sadly passed away a few years ago. But we did a couple of recordings on
Some artwork of Alex's fell on him, I think. Is that what I heard? That's unsubstantiated.
That's just a rumor.
Yeah, just a rumor.
But so the Brothers Groove coming back, a reunion show. We have a friend of mine named Sonny Ledford coming in from South Carolina. He'll be bringing his whole crew. We have, I believe, the Corktown Popes will be performing. We have.
That's a Sinead O'Connor tribute, band, right?
No tributes this weekend.
Oh, okay.
We have Tony Muggs bringing in his project called Dude.
Excellent.
Who else do we have? We have Phil Prophet and his Fast Fortunes.
Is Alex going to play guitar? Do you bust out the
Hey,
axe still?
maybe we should. Yeah, Alex.
I might need to dust that thing off.
Yeah.
You know,
How much dust is on it?
a lot.
Really? Okay. Okay.
I've been a little busy building John's sign.
You might want to come out for Mondays for the open mic session.
Yeah,
and just
1 o'clock in the afternoon.
just get those chops back up. Yes, that's right.
But yeah, we're looking forward to having people out and listen to some good music.
Okay.
Drink
And
some
you're
good
going to
beer.
be on TV too.
We are. Yeah, we are. We filmed.
Cops,
I
wasn't
believe-
it?
That was good.
Bad Boys? Or no, that's
yet.
different bar. That's down the street.
We filmed in, I believe it was the end of March, or it was either the end of March or early April. But a new show on A&E with Chef Buddy Velastro of Cake Boss fame, and this is a new show called Legends of the Fork, and it will be on A&E. And we don't have an air date yet, but sometime probably this fall or early winter. And essentially, it's probably somewhat Bourdain-esque in terms of going to, iconic spots in cities across the U.S., chatting with the owners a bit, working in the kitchen, chatting with customers, and just highlighting, some of these long-standing, iconic bars and restaurants throughout the country.
Did you have to call him chef? Did he insist upon it?
He didn't insist upon it, but I think I did. I think I called him Chef Buddy.
What was he like? Was he kind of petulant, or was he?
No, he was nice.
Yeah.
What do you want him to say?
Well, I don't know. I mean, these guys,
Nice Italian guy.
they wear the white coats that says chef on it. I mean, it's like they're
he's not one of
doctors
those-
or something.
He's not one of those kind of guys. no,
Okay.
no.
I mean, well, that who's the English asshole that I watch all the time?
Ramsay rules.
Yes,
Love
he's
that
a
guy.
prick.
Oh, he's
Every
the best.
show, he basically takes
best.
in
Is your TV
desperate,
a mirror?
insecure people, and he bullies them. He yells at them. He's abusive to them because they made some shitty Oysters Rockefeller
It's
or something.
uncomfortable, isn't
Well,
it,
you want him to
Mike?
make shitty. Well, if you like shitty food,
That's not nice what you're watching, is it there, Mike?
he just
I
wants the
don't
best.
I do not like Gordon Ramsay.
Oh, he's the best. He's great.
Why doesn't he just take a magnifying glass and train it on some ants? That would be just as sporting. But so your chef was not like that.
No, he was
Chef
not.
Buddy was nice.
Chef Buddy was nice. It was a nice late afternoon, early evening filming. We had the place full of friends and family, and he cooked for the segment. I believe they did rabbit and mussels.
Okay, so if Gordon Ramsay wanted to film a show and came in and started crapping all over it, you'd take him right out the door, right? You
Oh
just
yeah.
Well, first
escort him
off,
out. You
his
say,
Gordon
check out the
Ramsay-
sign on your way out, bitch, and then
Right.
away he goes.
Most of the stuff he does is he takes over bad restaurants and fixes them.
No, he has cooking shows where
Oh,
people come on and they want to.
competition?
Yeah, I mean,
It's
it's
called
just,
entertainment.
I don't know. I don't think beating a bunch of nobodies up is entertaining.
They know what they're signing up for.
It's like bum fights. Who wants to see a bunch of bums whipping the shit
That's a
out of
little
each
different.
other in
I
some
don't know if they
redneck's
know what they're
backyard?
signing up for. I think everybody knows what they're signing up for in a cooking competition show.
Wait, you put one bottle of Ripple in the middle of a backyard and say whoever wins gets the bottle, and they don't know what they're fighting for? I mean, I might elbow somebody for a shot of Mad Dog, but I don't know. That
I mean,
doesn't.
a lot of them tend to have mental illness. I don't think the contestants on Gordon Ramsay shows do.
Oh, you don't think so? How many kitchen
don't.
help have you had, John? Where you're like, I think
Are you talking
somebody
about the
here has
competition
is
show? Why am I
undiagnosed.
defending Gordon Ramsay so vehemently?
Yeah.
Are you-
I don't know. What I want to know is Mike going to model? Is he a model for the Muscle Beach part of these
God,
festivities coming up?
You know, we still have
Only
to
the
make, we
eating
still have
part.
to make the poster. We're hopefully getting that done this week. If you have some time, we can.
I think that'd be nice.
Maybe Alex, you could do a sketch. You know,
You could work some neon into it. I think that brings all of our talents together.
high school reunion.
So, yeah, I've actually gone to a few of our high school reunions, and I've been surprised at how much fun I had. Given that the 4 years of high school, I thought maybe being in a bamboo cage with De Niro in Deer Hunter would have been more fun. But I'm still recovering from high school, but the reunions haven't been bad. I've been surprised. So, and it's always good to see Alex. Once every 35 years, we do this.
Yeah.
So thanks for making it happen at tremendous expense, John. You've gussied up the east side, but it's all been for a good cause.
Let's keep the momentum going.
That's it. Yes. Yeah. Well, we'll have to get together twice more before the warranty on the sign expires, just to make sure everything's okay. So I think we can put that in the book. Well, Alex, tell people where they can see more of your work, both online and Hamlin Pub coming up, the Apparatus Room. Sounds like the Rattlesnake Club, which is...
That's an older project, but that was a nice one.
Yeah, that must have been pretty early in your career.
Yeah.
Did you get paid on that one? I know Jimmy had some problems paying people.
He tried to pay me with wine.
Did he? Wow. Okay.
No, we got paid.
Okay, good. And website, where can people go? Or Instagram? Where do you...
Instagram is Insight Design LLC. And the website is insightdesignllc.com.
Okay, pretty straightforward. Is your studio open? Do you do tours or anything like that? Are you guys working?
We're too busy working.
Okay.
He gave one to my dad.
Yeah.
94 years old.
Okay. Well, Chuck's like, well, if it's going to be here for 60 years, I want to make sure I know what the hell these guys are doing here. So, okay. Well, you can find out more about what's going on at the Caju Cafe at cajucafe.com. John Rutherford will be there keeping an eye on things. And Alex does not only have the sign, he'll have a tap handle out there and maybe a guitar in his hand. I don't know. That's a work in progress. We'll see about that. Well, Alex and John, thanks for coming in. We appreciate your contributions to the culture of our neighborhood, particularly since John's Bar is my favorite stumbling bar. That's within walking distance of my house, which makes it a prime local for me, which is great. So, and now I won't sneak in through the parking lot anymore. I'll come in right through the main entrance, which doesn't always happen with the Irish. They often tell us to come in through the back.
What?
Through the kitchen. You don't know about that with the Irish?
No, I was talking about the phrasing of it.
Oh, wow. Okay, sorry.
On that note,
you got Carmen watching on YouTube, and you're going to talk like that. I mean, let's be a gentleman.
She's heard it before. We've seen her before. She knows what this is all about.
Carmen knows what she's in for. It's like getting on one of those cooking shows with Gordon Ramsay.
I need to tell you guys about Luke Nowacki. Luke Nowacki, he is a finance guy. If you don't know how to invest, give Luke a call, 248-663-4748. Luke will kind of see, like, well, what are your goals? How old are you? When are you going to hit them? Do you want to be in bonds, equities? It's a whole big old equation, but Luke will look at all your finances and get you on target to meet those goals. 248-663-4748, free consultation from Luke Nowacki.
Because when you call Luke, he'll make it all about you, sweetheart.
Securities and investment advisory services offered through
Mosaic Wealth.
Inc. Member FINRA SIPC.
Mosaic Wealth.
Inc. is separately owned, and other entities and/or marketing names, products, or services referenced here are independent.
Mosaic Wealth.
Also, also like to tell you about the bricklayers and allied craft workers of Local 2 Michigan. They're looking for hardworking men and women all throughout the whole state of Michigan, whether you have experience in any of the trowel trades or if you have zero experience, there's an option for you. If you have no prior experience, there's free training opportunities with job placement that start just over $26 an hour. Plus benefits and earn while you can learn as a registered apprentice. Experienced tradesmen and women in building new or restoring old masonry, installing tile, marble, terrazzo, caulking, or finishing concrete. You can make anywhere between that $26.16 all the way up to just slightly over $37 plus benefits like Blue Cross Blue Shield health insurance, 2 pensions, there's an annuity, year-round free training workshops, certifications, referral and signing bonuses for $2,000 for journeyman, $1,000 for experienced apprentice. So much you can do. It's a tough job, but a rewarding job and really good benefits. Visit bricklayers.org to learn more about what Local 2 has to offer to take the next step in building your future today.
Yeah, give those folks a call because that's a good gig. There's a lot of work around right now, and you can make a lot of dough and set yourself up for the future. Artists are, well, they come in all shapes and sizes. And Alex gave us a little look at what it's like to build a career and leave your mark on the area. We'd like to help you be very artistic.
Why is Shawn wandering around the basement down
I
here?
guess he's leaving.
Are you leaving?
No, he's okay. Sorry.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
He's,
I think he was stretching for a little bit.
well, he's usually
Are you
does,
that bored?
I was stretching.
All right.
I was stretching.
He's running a little late from his Bikram yoga session. That's the hot yoga. So
No. I wanted to shake hands. You know,
okay.
just
okay.
the conviviality. Yeah.
Shawn's like, finally some culture on the show.
Keep the vibe going. No. He was cool, man. His work's amazing.
And in the meantime, you knocked the camera, so now you're totally cut off the top of your head, which is good. It's a good look.
I hope people
I
will.
haven't got no hair up there anyway.
I hope people will go by the Caju and will check out Alex's work, because it's kind of challenging to have an artist on the show when you're talking about their work, and we're mainly a oral experience where you hear us rather than see us. But this stuff is
That's
really
with you, by the way, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
It's,
By the way, Joe, can we just bring it down here, please? And
What, the light off your head?
no, the camera, so you can basically see my glasses and nothing on.
yeah, if you're watching us on
Would you rather see
YouTube,
your
Oh, there we go.
You want to see your breasts
There we go.
instead?
No. I just
What is Fishco?
Nobody wants to see the cone head.
What is Fishco, your shirt? What's that about?
That's a
got a shirt and all it says
some
is
friends of
Fishco.
mine brought me it's a little place.
Oh, payola?
A little place to eat, and I
Free
guess
plug?
somewhere in Hawaii, and they brought me a T-shirt back.
oh, they have fish in Hawaii. So we have T-shirts too. I guess that's what I was trying to get to. Is if you want to express yourself in a visual manner, check out our new merchandise. We have relaunched our line of apparel.
Oh, good. I've got requests for hoodies, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah.
We've got hoodies. We have men's hoodies. We have women's hoodies. We have zip-up hoodies. We have
Zip-up
T-shirts. We have truckers' caps. We have polo shirts. That's a new offering.
The child.
And we have and some pretty cool stickers. Those are your lower end.
Would you put a
items.
sticker on the back of your Riviera?
Oh, sure.
Sure, yeah.
Sure.
Do it.
You would.
Particularly on the bumper where I need to get it re-chromed.
That
would
wouldn't
be.
be.
A great
That wouldn't
spot.
be. Sacrilege.
No, I think bumper
wouldn't
stickers
taint-
have been around
It wouldn't
since
taint the taint mobile.
the taint. I don't know. That doesn't sound very appealing, but it is very smooth, I guess, and sensitive to the road. But other than that, I don't know if that's gonna. But yeah, I mean,
Look at him. He's
The pair of Neomobiles.
yeah, bumper stickers has been around since the Model T, when Henry Ford said, keep us out of World War I, and then I think he said something about keep the Jews out of Dearborn. So the bumper stickers have been around for a while. And if you don't know the Henry Ford story, check out the work of Bill McGraw, who has documented that.
I mentioned him in a column the other day that had to do with the lines.
Let's bring Tom Mazaway with us.
I love it. Did you know this site? His original garage is on the corner of Cass and Bagley, which eventually turned into the Michigan Theater, which was the grandest theater in the state. Which then was sort of taken over by a parking garage. There's a 3-story, but there's still the ceiling in there. And I hung out with a bunch of tailgaters.
They demolished it
11 or 12 years ago. They used to tailgate in there. Inside, they would smoke brisket and in any case,
and other things.
Yeah, right. On the eve of the most anticipated Lion season, how long, Mark?
Oh boy, we're about a month, right? It's August.
No,
5 weeks.
We're 5 weeks away from the most anticipated Lion season, and how long?
Oh boy, and how long? 30 years?
At least.
30 plus years? Maybe my whole lifetime?
And so I was thinking about, I keep getting texts and emails about all of this, and I was thought about that story I wrote 15 years ago in that crazy ass setting with the deck and the theater on the site where Henry Ford invented his car, and whose granddaughter now owns the team, which is kind of, in any case,
it was wild.
Yeah, they were fathers and sons, so I kind of went back and worked some of that into a column, and that's a long story for nothing.
At freep.com.
At freep.com.
There's your plug.
Yeah.
Where do I get merch at?
Well, quick story about that theater, but they've torn down that theater.
Yes.
They pulled it out in the last year. They demolished it for I don't know what. But that was also where the Detroit Newspaper Guild had its offices, and the Detroit Newspaper Guild moved its offices in there right after Eminem's best buddy.
That was shot in there.
Proof was killed in a social club, but Proof had those offices just before the Newspaper Guild. And when the Newspaper Guild president moved in, he's like, I don't know, some guy had this place, there's like liquor bottles all over. And I said, well, what'd you do with all of it? That's proof's office. There may be some cool shit. There may be some artifacts in there, maybe some tapes and a drawers. I threw it all out. It was all garbage.
Oh,
I was
wow.
like, okay, whatever, Pally.
And that was that site, though, right? That deck, a parking structure inside a theater like that was just crazy. So Detroit, yeah.
Yeah.
So they tore it down. What's there now?
Well, the facade of the building is there, but they tore out the theater.
Oh, okay.
So I think they're probably going to build a proper parking deck on there, or expand the building
Of course,
out.
just so we need more parking.
Oh yeah, no, that's great. Thanks, Ilges. But if you wherever you park, why don't you look good? Are we back on track?
Sure.
Shawn, anything else? Okay.
No, we'll get off track.
So if you go to our website, mlsoulofdetroit.com, you can find our merchandise. This is a pre-order situation, so let me explain what that means. We will only make what you buy, and it will take a while to get to you. If you buy something today, which we hope you will, it may take 5 weeks to get to you because this sale will be on until August 16th, which means between now and August 16th, you can order all the merchandise your heart desires, and it will be shipped to you within about 2 weeks of the end of the sale, which is August 16th. So order now, get your orders in, be patient. You will be very happy when it gets there, but plan ahead because this is a limited time offer. Go to mlsoulofdetroit.com. You'll find a link, and from that link, you can purchase some high quality gear. In fact, some of the highest quality stuff that we've ever made.
Really?
It's true. Yeah, this is a little upgrade over the Gildan.
That's nice.
Yeah.
You have a little extra curly Q going on today. Is that by design? Change your hair products? Are you driving a convertible now that we haven't told us about? Another addition to the classic Elric car collection.
I will tell you that the recently anointed Taintmobile has an AC issue, so the windows do roll down. But there's no diamond in the back.
Anything else?
Digging the scene.
The gangster.
With the gangster lead.
I think it's time for Geek of the Week.
Man, the geeks have inherited the earth.
I just wanted to see where Shawn was going.
What a dork.
Does him wanting to play with us again mean that he's turning into a geek, or we're turning into cool guys?
So this week's geek is sort of unspecified, and I understand that that's a little unspecific. In fact, it's the very definition of unspecific. But there's a documentary series out, a podcast series out, about the trials and tribulations of the actor who played Jar Jar Binks.
Oh, I saw that, yeah.
Now, I thought Jar Jar was probably as low as it goes with Star Wars.
Everybody hated him.
Well, and it's
pointless.
That's the thing. Everybody hated him. And this poor actor, who was a young guy, thought he was getting the break of his lifetime, grew up a Star Wars fan, thought it was the greatest thing in the world. Oh, my God, I can't. And they said, okay, first, originally Jar Jar's just going to be like a visual character. So he did some CGI, and apparently he's one of the first CGI performers. And when you do CGI coding, some of the original coding goes back to what they did for him. So he... in sort of a weird DNA CGI thing is
it wasn't how Jar Jar looked
forever. But he convinced him, like, well, let's turn it into a speaking role. I think Jar Jar has something to say, and he was wrong. But he said a lot.
Because his name was Jar Jar.
Everybody hated him.
An awful, awful, awful character. But this person, this actor, was hunted down. People would find his phone number and leave death threats on his phone number.
God.
People would seek him out and heap piles of abuse on him to the point where he was on the Brooklyn Bridge and contemplated jumping. In fact, he said that he was standing on the edge and was a heartbeat away from throwing his life into those unforgiving waters when he kind of felt his balance off a little bit and tried to grab himself, and he realized, wait a minute, if I'm worried about falling, then maybe I don't want to die. And he's been able to pull his life back together, and he's made it back into Star Wars movies and speaking roles, and he and George Lucas remain good friends and all that other stuff. But I did not like Jar Jar Binks.
No
at
one
all.
did.
but I would have never threatened the life of someone who portrayed Jar Jar Binks. And even if you knew that this person was responsible for expanding Jar Jar's role and all that other stuff, it's still no reason.
Well, he killed Star Wars. I mean,
no, it's
nobody sees Star Wars. Oh wait, no, they made a bunch more.
Yeah,
series
it's
and spin-offs.
misdirected, right? I mean, whose fault?
Of course,
it's George Lucas's fault. It's clearly the movies were terrible. All three of those movies were awful. And the fact
say the
that
third one is okay.
I'm sorry, but they were the pacing. They're childish. They're terrible.
They are childish.
And his acceptance, and he's probably the one that came up with the name Jar Jar. He should be blamed.
Well, he did create the character, yeah. But
right?
I mean,
he created the character.
That voice that the actor used was so stupid.
And George Lucas okayed that. Hey, look, George Lucas, great. You know, Empire Strikes Back, fine.
Yeah, but he should have had the wherewithal to go, no.
But, you know, like a lot of us do, we don't adapt sometimes as you know what I mean? The culture kind of leaves it behind. And those three movies, that's why he left what's the reboot? What's the first one of the third of the reboot that came out 5-6 years ago, 7 years ago?
Oh, the name of it?
The Force Awakens. Yeah. He was going to be part of that, and they were going in a different direction, and he thought, no, this isn't going to work, and that ended up being an enormous movie. So that just kind of tells you, Jar Jar Binks, it's his fault.
Well, so
it's not you, Jar Jar.
I'm not a fan of Jar Jar, and I think this guy should bear some responsibility for his interpretation of the role. But if you ever threatened the life of Jar Jar Binks or thought about it, you're our Geek of the Week.
There's an all-night party in room 7609. You've got the time.
It's not part of the Red Shovel Network, but I should let you know the redemption of Jar Jar Binks is widely available wherever you get your podcasts. So if you need more Jar Jar, it's out there.
No one does, but
no, that's true. So I want to touch back on something we discussed last week in room 7609. There was, of course, we got caught up on the Primitives at the beginning of the show, talking a little bit about Sick of It, which I'm sure we've played on this show. We'd have to go back and look, but great tune by the Primitives. By the way, not much else in their catalog. I remember buying that back in the early '90s, and then saying,
"Are we playing them
who
this
wants
week?"
to trade me?" No.
Oh, okay.
But Shawn mentioned Bananarama, and I was like, I think one of the singers of Bananarama married somebody, and I couldn't think of who it was. Guess who Karen Woodward of Bananarama married?
Bob Woodward.
No.
Oh.
Andrew Ridgeley of Wham.
Really?
Yes, they were married for about 10 years. They're no longer married. And one of the other singers, Siobhan, married Dave Stewart from the Eurythmics.
Oh, have you seen the Wham documentary on Netflix?
No, but I've read interviews with Andrew Ridgeley about how he's at peace and he never wanted to be a big star. He was just a buddy of. But he's kind of the main narrator in that, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean it's really his project. I thought it was a little bit of a reclamation project for Andrew Ridgeley because everybody thinks George Michael was Wham. And George Michael was Wham, but it was very important to point out that Ridgeley was really the creator and the starter and had the first couple hits before Michael took over. It's just fun watching how big that band got and how quick they got. Oh, yeah, Ridgeley was the original musician and George Michael was really quiet. And then I forget which song it was. It might have been Careless Whisper that he's like, he produced it and wrote it. It was very meticulous. It got released here just under, I believe, the Wham and George Michael name, but in English. I don't know. I thought it was a really fun documentary. And you feel bad for George Michael because here he is, this closeted guy that was supposed to be the sex symbol for women. Like every woman wanted George Michael. And here he just had no interest in them. I don't know. I thought it was a good doc.
Meanwhile, dorks like me wanted every woman and none of them had any interest in it. I should have.
No, you should have been George Michael.
I just couldn't get my hair.
He could have been your father figure.
Oh.
Well, that was a good room 7609. Yeah. had some substance.
Well, it wasn't careless whispers. It was thoughtful declarations that made Sinead O'Connor a bit of an outcast. But if you go back to albums from the 1980s, it's tough to find something better than The Lion and the Cobra. And even though they tried to roll her out with Troy, which is a very, very strange song to introduce as a single, and they got it right with the second single, Mandinka, I think the best cut on the album is the one you're hearing right now, and that is Jerusalem by Sinead O'Connor, The Lion and the Cobra, 1987.